Hello, good morning everyone. Yeah, how does it feel this morning being in a beautiful tropical island in Malaysia? Great. Are you all feeling great? Okay, you all had a good night's sleep? I'm sure you all feel really fresh and ready to go. Yeah, because we have a very packed program. Apologies again for the internet connectivity issues. But as you all know, this is a very old building, and they are not built. They don't have porous walls. Old building, so that is part of the issue with internet connectivity. But we'll try and fix it for the rest of the conference, particularly for our virtual audience. So apologies once again. Right. So I'm Tan Mo Pin. I am the organizing co-chair, supposedly, but I have to say that I only oversee the kind of writing bits, and then everybody else does all the running around. And I have the pleasure, and this is like the greatest pleasure since my return to Malaysia 10 years ago, to actually introduce Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Muhammad Ismail American. I have to catch a breath there. And he needs no introduction. But I'm going to do it anyway. But I won't read out this really extensive thing because we do need to give him time for his talk. But he's actually the current Pro-Chancellor and the Chairman of the Board of Governors of MCHA University. And indeed, he's done great work with MCHA. He's a consultant hepatologist and internal medicine specialist at Prince Court Medical Centre and chairman of Gadang Holdings Berhad. We all know him as our ex-DG. So from 2005 until 2011, he held the post of the Director General of Health of Malaysia and the President of the Malaysian Medical Council. And he, to be honest, his accolades are huge. He's done a tremendous amount for healthcare for Malaysia. So without further ado, let me invite Tan Sri Datuk Sri Dr. Haji Muhammad Ismail American onto the stage.
Okay, you want to put on the screen? This mouse dekat here. No, how do I control this one? Hold on, I'll just go on this. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, first of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for inviting me to give this talk. All right? And I was made to understand that only those who qualify are those who grace or who have aged gracefully. So I hope I haven't disappointed all of you. Thank you very much. Now, now the title of my talk today is actually Healthy Aging, Adding Years to Life and Life to Years. We just don't want to grow old, but we want to grow old and be useful to society. Now let me just get this thing rolling. Let me see where the hell is that thing. Yeah, hold on. This one, yeah. So when we talk about adding years to life and life to years, we are talking about extending the lifespan and lengthening your healthy, functional lifespan So you want to slow down the processes of aging, and we need to share with you strategies on how to retain your physical vigor, your mental clarity, and your youthful appearance as you grow older. All right? Now, easier said than done, I suppose. Now, according to WHO, healthy aging is the process of developing and maintaining the functional ability that enables well-being in old age. Now, functional ability is about having the capabilities that enable all people to be and do what they value. And this includes a person's ability to meet their basic needs. You're able to walk, you're able to think, see, hear, remember, learn, grow and make decisions, be mobile, build and maintain relationships, and of course, contribute to society. Now, when we talk about healthy aging, it is talking about the development and maintenance of optimal mental, social, and physical well-being and function in older adults. It is likely to be achieved when communities are safe, promote health and well-being, and use health services and community programs to prevent or minimize disease. So basically, people don't want just to live long lives. They want to live long, healthy lives, right? Now, longevity is qualitative and not quantitative. And successful for healthy aging is more than just the absence of disease and immunity. You want to make sure that when you age, you don't depend on anyone but yourself. So, why is healthy aging so important? Well, it makes you feel good, right? You don't have to depend on people. Second, you can contribute positively to society, and that's very important. You want to be a derelict and be confined to some corner of the social fabric without contributing to anybody. You want to help you sleep better. You can sleep at night. A lot of my patients cannot sleep at night. I don't know why. And most of them are working, So once you're retired, well, semi-retired, you can sleep at night, and you should. Stimulate your appetite. Choose the food that you want to eat. Reduce your risk of heart disease, dementia, and falls if you comply. I will elaborate on that later. Improve and maintain your fitness, strength, and balance. But do remember that everyone's fitness levels and physical abilities are different. Now, age is just a number. According to Mark Twain, age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't really matter. So physical and mental capacity is not directly influenced by age. You can have a young fella who is so derelict and an older fella who's so vibrant. All right? So age doesn't matter whether, you're physically or mentally have physical and mental capacity or not. Now, the policy should be framed to improve the functional ability of all older people, whether they are robust, care-dependent, or in between. And relationships we have with our environments are influenced by other factors. The families we are born into. All right, like the chairman, the person who introduced me just now, the whole family is, is 90, 80, and the mother is now 80, wants to live up to 120, and that sort of thing. So it depends on the family you're born into. And your sex is important. For some reason, ladies seem to live longer than men. Good news, bad news? Anyway. And ethnicity, and level of education and financial resources. Now, what is the oldest documented lifespan? At the current, when I prepared this slide, there's this person called Jean Clement, who's 122 years old and 164 days when she died. So she is the oldest person. And what was the secret of this longevity? Disease-free life. Now, in 1900, the average projected lifespan was 47 years. And 120 years later, the average life expectancy had risen to 74.5 for men, and of course, for women, 80.2. All right? In Malaysia, life expectancy at birth in the year 2020 was men 72.8, and of course, ladies older 77.8. All right? So ladies are being protected by the Almighty. Now, why do women live longer than men? Please ask yourself. Well, there are many, many reasons, my dear. First, they have smaller bodies, for those who have smaller bodies. Okay, you know that some women have bigger bodies and whatever. So smaller bodies and less stress to the heart. A stronger immune system, since testosterone acts as an immunosuppressant. Do you all know that? Do you know that? Testosterone acts as an immunosuppressant. And less tendency to engage in physically dangerous activities once upon a time. Now you have ladies doing everything. And there are others. Others means, do single women live longer than married women? Do married couples live longer than those who are not married? Well, these questions I won't answer because it's very dicey, but you can find out for yourself. But those women who do not get married certainly live longer than those who got married. I leave it to you to decide, whether that is relevant or not. Now, what are the causes of decreased lifespan? There are many, many causes. The first one is cellular changes. So cellular multiplication slows down with age, and the rate of formation of T lymphocytes of the immune system decreases with age. So the body is therefore susceptible to diseases, and the immune breakdown triggers the human aging process, making the body vulnerable to diseases. And of course, there are genetic factors. Genes associated with mechanism of programmed cell death or apoptosis also affects aging in individuals. Environmental factors are also very important. Exposure to excessive heat and light. Constant exposure to toxins and poisons, and poor oxygen conditions and malnutrition. And there are many other contributing factors, health conditions. There are certain genetic disorders that completely change the phenotype of an individual. For example, the Hutchinson-Gilford syndrome, progeria, and Werner syndrome. If you have that, sorry, there's not much you can say. All right? Now, osteoporosis and arthritis are the main factors governing aging process in women. And toxins produced in Parkinson's disease degenerate the neurons that hinder the memory of the brain. And of course, mental stress. Now, things that you can do. Lead a healthy lifestyle. Because if you were to adopt an unhealthy lifestyle by overconsumption of alcohol and heavy smoking, lack of exercise, not enough rest or sleep, that can also contribute to you growing older faster. So what happens when we age? Trillions of cells in our body are constantly changing. Some get destroyed or die, and at the same time, new cells are formed every minute, and this accounts for our body's growth. So the key to controlling aging process lies in the understanding of how and why we age the way we do. All right? Now, look at this lady, aging process. The skin changes, fat get displaced, reduced muscle tone, bone shrinkage, periodontal disease changes, and compensatory changes. And signs of aging, well, well, you can always look at the mirror today and see whether you've got these signs of aging or not. If you don't have them, fantastic. Wrinkles, sagging face. I don't know what else sags, but sagging face. Deep laughing lines, eye bags, droopy eyelids, gum recession, tooth darkening. All right? So what happens to our skin and hair as we age? Now, this part of aging is visible and prominent. Sorry, isn't it? It's visible and prominent. So our skin begins to develop wrinkles and dark spots, normally tagged as age spots. The ability of skin to produce oil reduces, resulting in dry and lusterless skin. And hair becomes thinner than normal. And the changes in hair color from gray to white eventually marks aging. When I attended one course in Malacca many moons ago, the ex-mayor of Kuala Lumpur looking at me and said, "Hey, you don't look so old, lah." So I said, why do you say that? Must be the hair. So which means if you have a lot of hair, that means you don't look so old, lah. Those without hair, sorry, lah. Okay. Now, what happens to our skin and hair as we age? So the younger skin and the older skin, you can see the comparison. Huh? All right. And you can see that guy over there. And so this actually happens in the dermis. You get three ingredients: the collagen, the uronic acid, and the elastin. So this decreases as we age. All right. So that is why we have all these wrinkles and darkening and folding and all the rest of it. What happens to our brain as we age? Some brains shrink while others remain stable as we age. Now, aging of the brain also impairs the ability of the brain to encode or decode new memories and facts, while processing speed and reflexes decline. So you can see the changes between the young brain and the older brain. There's nothing you can do to prevent that, but at least you can do something to keep you alive, make you relevant. I'll show you why later and how later. Now, the other thing about aging is the bones and the muscles. All right, you see, when I climb up just now, I was very careful. You know, you have to be careful as you grow older, because when you climb up steps and stuff like that, you have to be extremely careful, because the friction between joints increases the friction, because the lubrication decreases. So it causes the joint to have, to be painful when you start walking. And bones become porous with loss of density and strength. And bones are reservoirs of minerals like calcium and phosphorus, but during the process of aging, there is typical depletion of these minerals, making the bones fragile and weak. All right? We have heard so many stories of people collapsing or falling in the bathroom and sustain a fracture of the femur. Nothing you can do about that. But there's something you can do about making sure you don't fall in the bathroom in the first place, isn't it? So I've said so many friends who just fall in the bathroom. There's one lady who was putting this mask to make her look pretty, and then she fell. You know, and she lasted for about 20 years, you know, just like a vegetable, you know, because she was putting the mask and she fell in the bathroom. So there are a lot of stories like that. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not careful, you're prone to fractures. So you got to be extremely careful as you age. And muscles, you got to make sure the muscles are firm, nice. Because as you age, there's a decrease in strength, endurance, and flexibility if the muscles slowly dwindle away. That's why you see one of my friends who's about 85 years old going to the gym and having physical instructor at home and all that, as if it makes a difference, but never mind. He feels good about it, so that's fine. Because if you have weak muscles, prone to incoordination, instability, and imbalance. All right? So these are things that if you know beforehand, you are able to prevent it. Now, what about hearing and vision as we age? The retina becomes thinner with impaired sharpness in viewing objects at a distance, and objects appear blurred. All right, so many of us are wearing glasses today. Wearing glasses doesn't mean that you're growing older. You have young children wearing glasses as well, but it is part of the phenomenon. Irises get stiffened and pupils become less responsive and more sensitive to glare. So eye problems like cataracts and glaucoma are common as you age. And I suppose cataracts, people go and see the doctor very easily because they say they can't see very well. All right? But glaucoma, that is where the problem is, because unless you do a tonometry or you check your pressure of the intraocular pressure, you will never know that you have got glaucoma. All right, I know some ministers have got glaucoma, but they don't realize it. And we realize it because, well, no need to say anymore, Now, aging also leads to hearing loss, and the eardrums thicken and making hearing more difficult than usual. So this is what happens. As you grow older, you get cataracts, you don't see very well, you get glaucoma, you get confined vision. What is that you say? Sorry? Because you have problems, especially in the inner ear, not in the external ear. Now, what happens to our heart as we age? The blood vessels lose their elasticity. There is fatty deposition on the artery wall, making the artery smaller and narrowing the space for blood flowing through it. You tend to get systolic high blood pressure, for those who know a little bit about pressure. And the heart works harder than usual to pump the body to other part of the body, and the result is, of course, hypertension or high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, and other serious disorders. So you can see the difference in the ventricles and the muscles. So this happens when we age. So enough about talking about what happens to us when we age. Let's talk about the young children and the old children, or rather the younger children and the older people. All right. So you can see this graph that shows very clearly the world is seeing an increased number of people who are growing older. And those that are growing younger, there seem to be a decrease. All right. So this is something that you have to be careful about. All right. So that's why when I was the Minister of Health, we tried to introduce programs that assist the elderly. All right, because if you don't assist the elderly, you yourself will become elderly one day and you don't know what to do. All right, so it's very important to have policies that will encourage geriatrics and encourage the study of problems or challenges associated with people who grow older. All right. Now, this is the increasing burden of chronic non-communicable diseases if you compare 2008 and 2030. If you look at 2008, you see the high-income countries, and you look at the low-income countries. All right, the blue zone is actually the non-communicable diseases, things like hypertension, blood diabetes, blah blah blah. Communicable diseases are infectious diseases. All right, so you can see that there's not much of non-communicable diseases in low-income countries in 2008. Now, Malaysia is a middle-income country. All right, if you look at 2030, you can see that our burden of non-communicable diseases is more than 50%. So it is a worrying sign. All right, so you have to be prepared for it. So, the Minister of Health has already got a program on non-communicable diseases, but having a program is not the answer. Implementing the program is the answer. Make a filing report, having this commission, this, that, nonsense. You have, a lot of, Royal Commission of this and that. They're piling dust on the shelf. Why? Because it's good to form a commission, form a study, but if you don't implement it, then it becomes quite useless. Politically, it may sound right, but practically, it is not right. No, I'm sounding like a very angry man, but, well, I've been through a lot of things in life, but whatever I say, I do is from the heart, okay? Now, how do you slow the process of aging? I don't agree with this anti-aging nonsense, Nobody goes and say anti this, anti that. You cannot have anti-aging, but you can perhaps slow down the process of aging. Now, physical activity is very important. I tell all my patients, you must exercise at least 45 minutes each week. 3 times a week also can, no problem. All right, so you must exercise, do something. All right, don't just sleep and watch TV, take McDonald's or something, that's not on. All right, you must be physically active. Diet and nutrition. Of course, when you come to Penang, you talk about nasi kandar and all the rest of it. But good eating habits and healthy foods are key to staying healthier for longer. And you must avoid processed foods that are high in fat, salt, and sugar. All right? Improve your mental fitness. Read newspapers, if for those who still read them lah. Read newspapers, magazines and books and learn new skills. You must keep your mind alive. All right? Sudoku lah, waduko, whatever. Keep your mind alive. Don't be stagnant. That's the worst thing as you grow older. Do crossword puzzles and word games, meditation, relaxation techniques, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But you must keep your mind active. And go for a health check. See your doctor at least once a year for a proper checkup. And be sure that the doctor you go to is a balanced doctor. Not a guy who doesn't know what, well, we have had many stories like that. There are people who saw a doctor with increased cancer markers, and the doctor said, don't worry, you're okay. And the fellow died of liver cancer. So we have had cases like that. So choose your doctor well, and if you're very comfortable with the doctor, he's a reliable doctor, see him every year, all right, or at least 6 months a year, depending on whether you have problems or not, or whether you got a family history of heart disease or cancer or whatever. See them often, but at least once a year, if you're more than 45. And the other thing which I realized, I'm a practicing clinician, as you know, in Prince Court. You must know which medicines you're taking. Some people do not know which medicine is taken for what. So you must know what medicine you're taking, why you need to take those medicines. Some people think it's just to fill up the doctor's pocket. No. You must know which medicine you're taking, why you need them, and how to take them. There's a famous story about when I was a houseman here in Penang GH. People say, I cannot swallow this tablet, like it's too huge. But that's not to swallow, that's suppository. All right? That's supposed to be put somewhere else. But you must tell patients, you must assume that they know what they're doing, because they don't. So you must tell them what to do, how to do. And I will always ask my patients, do you know what medicine you're taking? Oh, it's the blue one, it's the green one, the red one. Doesn't make any difference to me. You must tell me exactly what you're taking and why you're taking it and how you're taking it. Very important. Okay? Now give your brain a boost. Our brain is like muscle. It needs to work out to keep it working effectively. Get a good night's sleep. This is a bit of a problem to some. About 8 hours sleep at night would be good, but if you can't sleep, then you have my sympathy. Go easy on alcohol and cigarettes. Get social. This is very important. Be surrounded by good friends or join activity groups so that you find yourself useful. All right? Drink adequate water. Yes, that lady is drinking water. Very good, very good. At least 2 liters a day, yeah? All right. Cope with stress. This is something that is sometimes difficult. How do you cope with stress? All right? So you must learn techniques on how to cope with stress. That will be another lecture. And take steps to prevent falls. For those who go to the bathroom often, you got to make sure that the tiles in the bathroom are friendly, in the sense that you don't slip too often in the toilet, all right? And when you go to the toilet, you cannot lock the door, all sorts of things. You all know these things, isn't it? Bring the handphone inside, and so that somebody will know that you're outside. The lady with the mask I was telling you about, she's, unfortunately, she was wearing that mask and she collapsed, and nobody knew that she collapsed. So she was there for hours, and that's why she became a vegetable. So be careful. Now, factors related to maintenance of cognitive health: avoid vascular damage. Heart healthy is brain healthy. Check your blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, weight, smoking, physical activity. These are all another lecture. All right, but be aware that these are things that will govern you. Now, the oldest living person, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, in the year 2022, is Kane Tanaka from Japan, 119 years old. And there's Lucille Randon from France, 118 years old. Notice they're both ladies, all right? And the first 30 oldest living persons are all ladies, right? I'm not saying with any cynicism. I'm very happy that the ladies are taking care of themselves better. But remember, 11 of those who are in the first top 30 are from Japan. So there must be something about Japan that makes you live longer, all right? Now the oldest living man in 2022 is Juan Vincent Ferrer Mora from Venezuela, 113 years old. And the oldest man is Kimura, again from Japan. He died at 116 years, at the age of 116 years. Now, forgot to mention about Lucille Rendon just now. She had COVID in 2019, you know, but she did not die and she's still alive, you know. So even COVID cannot touch her. Now, factors which contribute to longevity are gender, of course. If you're a lady, your chances are bigger, all right? So, so you must be thankful for that. Genetics, of course. When you look at Tun Mahathir, the whole family is more than 90 years old. Quality of healthcare system and accessibility to the healthcare system. You can have fantastic healthcare system, but if you're not accessible to it, what is the point? So, quality as well as accessibility. When we talk about quality, it must have everything that you require. Not a healthcare system where, okay, take BP, take PAR, and that's it, thank you, bye-bye. No, no, no. You must be able to offer screening packages and be accessible to people who really need them. And you must, of course, go for regular health checks, of course. Very, very important. Don't think that if you don't have symptoms, you're fine. There are a lot of mysterious silent diseases, like, for instance, hypertension is a silent killer. Hepatitis C is a silent killer. You don't know it unless you go for a check. So don't assume that just because you're healthy, you're fine. You are not. Go for the checkup. I cannot say this too many times. Now, the environment is very important. This is where the government comes in. It has to be clean. No pollution. Allow for recreation. You don't go on the park and then suddenly you see dog poop, this poop, that poop. You don't feel good about it. So it has to be clean, allow for recreation, and less crime. This is where the government comes in. And of course, lifestyle is entirely up to you. Smoking, alcohol, exercise, diet, nutrition, good sleep, and coping with stress. All up to you. All right? Now, there are aesthetic procedures to reverse aging. I don't recommend this, of course. And you know, a friend of mine who is involved in all these aesthetic procedures, he gave me this slide. It's a 10 billion industry. All right, these aesthetic procedures that they do. And these are the procedures, top procedures of 2011. Liposuction, breast augmentation. Not sure how many of you are guilty in this room. Abdominoplasty. A lot of us do need that. Eyelid surgery to get rid of the bags. And breast lift. That is surgical. And non-surgical, of course, botulism, Botox, hyaluronic acid, laser hair removal, microdermabrasion, and IP laser treatment. Now, this is the top 5 cosmetic, minimally invasive procedures. The first one is, of course, Botox. Second one is the fillers, the chemical peels, laser hair removal, and microdermabrasion. And this is the top 5 in a diagrammatic form. These are procedures done in Malaysia, closer to home. And don't think it is something great. It's being done right now in Malaysia. So Botox, the price is about 500 to 5,000 per area. So you must have lots of money to look young and healthy and nice. Fillers, 1,600 to 2,400 per meal. Lasers, 500 to 3,000 per session. Thread lifts, 6,000 to 10,000. And stem cells, of course. Stem cells, we don't actually quite encourage stem cells. It is not part of what we do, but when we say it's for research, stem cell for research, it's okay. All right? So these are stem cells for research, and they've been making lots of money because of that. Now, cosmetic surgery, neck and face lifts, breasts, body lifts, genitalia rejuvenation, 9,000 to 19,000. You know what is genitalia rejuvenation, Bhaskaran? You're nodding your head as if you know. So for ladies, of course, making it, making it, firmer. For men, is making it longer and wider. I didn't realize this until my friend told me about this. There are people who do that. You know, they spend money just to do that. So those people who get married at the older age, you wonder whether they've got all this nonsense. Okay, some before and after pictures. So you can see that. These are shared by my friends in the aesthetic medicine. So, ladies and gentlemen, healthy aging, can we do something about it? Improve our diet and levels of physical activity. I cannot say this too often. Health screenings and manage risk factors for disease. Exercise and regular physical activity. Now, when you talk about exercise, don't let it be a dread. Whatever you like, actually. Gardening, walking the dog, climbing stairs. There are people who like to climb stairs, up, down, up, down. When I was a DG, it was reported in the newspaper, this DG walks up the steps, up and down, up and down. Those were the days. Okay? Balance exercises to help you prevent falls. Strength exercises to build muscles and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. And flexibility or stretching exercises to help you keep your body supple and allow for freedom of movement. So exercise is very important. All right? But know what exercises to do, how to do it. Don't do the wrong exercises, no warming up, nothing, and you end up being a terrible, with a terrible experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are some simple natural methods to make and look younger. Okay? So, like I said, those who are invited to this talk must have all these attributes. Otherwise, they will not be invited. Now, first of all, you must protect your skin. So, avoid the hot sun. UV light is the main cause of oxygen-free radicals, so you can use sunblock. If you want to go to the beach, use a sunblock if it is a hot day. Frequent medical and dental checkups. All right, dental checkup is very important, Regular exercises, a balanced diet, be mentally active, preventing aging around the eyes if you can, address eye and ear issues, keep hair young. How do you do that? I remember there's one Tansi who told me that his hair is always black, like mine. So I said, hey, how come your hair always black? Hey, Tansi, you don't know lah. I don't use conditioner. Oh, why? Because conditioner got ingredients that can make the hair grow grey. So that Tansi, if you see him, you know who I mean lah. His hair is always black because he doesn't use conditioner. That's what he says lah. So we just have to take his word for it. Now get better sleep. Okay, if you can't sleep, read a boring book, watch a boring movie, and then you can sleep. All right? I got a lot of patients who cannot sleep, but so I told them, do those things. And don't watch a suspenseful movie and then go to sleep. You still remember the suspense and all that, and you cannot sleep. All right? So always read a boring book, watch a boring movie before you sleep, if you can, or do some light exercises. Enhance the immune system. Take vitamins. Vitamin C is very good, 1 gram at least. Meditation and spirituality. What do I mean by spirituality? Meditation for those who like to meditate, and spirituality are those who go to the mosque, surau, or prayer halls, whatever, just to relax the mind and be closer to the Almighty. All right, that's spirituality. That makes you feel good about it. Now, healthy aging diet, balance of good quality protein, carbohydrate, fat, made up of equal parts of lean protein, complex carbohydrate, and healthy fats. Cut out sugar and refined carbohydrates. Even now, I don't like all these kuih manis and all that, because you prime yourself to the fact that you shouldn't be taking all this nonsense. Eat more lean protein, replace unhealthy fats with healthy fats. Consume the widest possible variety of produce and plenty of it. Now, I know you don't like to see him, some of you at least, but I cannot help but mention him. Of course, this is Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. This year in July, he'll be 97 years old. And you see him, you know him. His mind is alert. He's a prime minister, politician, statesman, author, doctor who served as the 4th and 7th prime minister. The 4th was great, the 7th not so great. Held office from July, blah, blah, blah. And he's the longest serving prime minister. All right? And whatever you think about him, you must respect that he is a person who has embraced healthy aging. Now, his words of wisdom. I would advise people not to rest when they grow old. Because if you rest, you will soon become very weak and incapable, and may become senile. Be active after you reach retirement age. It is the same as your muscles. I'm trying to imitate him lah. If you don't use your muscles and lie down all the time, the muscle cannot even carry your weight. You cannot stand and you cannot walk. So the brain is the same. If you don't use your brain, you don't think, you don't read, you don't write, the brain regresses and you become senile. So always be active. This is the words of wisdom from Tun Mahathir Mohamad, who is, whatever you think of him, he's still a very active. But have you spoken to him? He's a very soft-spoken man, just like what I mentioned just now. Very soft-spoken gentleman, but the mind is always very active, thinking of new ways, and you do not know what he's thinking when you see him. That's part of healthy aging. The other person that comes to mind is Clint Eastwood. He is actually my favorite director now, And this year he'll be 92 years old. I know a lot of you have got relatives who are more than 90. But these are people who I think need to be mentioned because they are celebrities. So Clint Eastwood, even at the age of 92, is still directing and playing in movies. So this is part of healthy aging. He makes himself very useful to society. Now his few quotes: respect your efforts, respect yourself. Self-respect leads to self-discipline. When you have both firmly under your belt, that's real power. Okay? Take your work seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. Okay, so live a little. Tomorrow is promised to no one. Sometimes if you want to see a change for the better, you have to take things into your own hands. These are all words from Clint Eastwood, one of my favorite directors. So I got two other friends. One of them is the Tan Sri. He said, I live healthy. His formula for healthy aging is to marry a young wife. And you look at him now, he's very active. I think, Baya, you know him as well. He's a Tan Sri, he's in Penang. He got a healthy young wife and he becomes healthy. All right? So that's the message. Get a young wife and you become healthy as well. because you want to impress upon the young wife that you can do the thing that she does. So that's one person. The other person is a Dato, also from Penang, who's 90 years old, and he cycles every time. He cycles all the time. Now his mantra is, be good to everybody. Help everybody you can. And he feels good about himself. So positive vibes. There was another friend, also from Penang, a Tan Sri also, whose religion is Buddhism. Not Buddhism, Goodism. He does good to everyone. Unfortunately, he has passed away because he was not good to himself. Okay, so these are some of the things that I can mention. So basic messages: healthy medicine, fastest growing medical specialty, enormous scientific advances in the understanding of the causes and treatment of aging, no longer acceptable or responsible for doctors to dismiss a gradual deterioration of function and wellness as what happens when you grow older. You heard that so many times. Program to allow you to grow chronologically older without becoming aged must be instituted, maximize chances of not only a long life, but a long, healthy life, and the future of medicine is the future of mankind. And these are three final quotes. One is by Joan Baez. You don't get to choose how you are going to die or when. You can only decide how you are going to live now. Interesting, isn't it? The second quote, most of the time, make the most of your time and do not groan or grumble as another birthday rolls around the corner. You have been given another gift, so you got to be very grateful. Now for the Muslims, they believe in an afterlife, so that will encourage Muslims to take responsibility for their actions. They know that God will hold them accountable and reward them or punish them accordingly. Okay, I hear you. Tell it to the politicians. Yes, please. Tell it to the politicians. And the final quote will be, you can't help getting older, but you don't have to get old. By George Burns. And the last quote is by John Lennon. You know the Beatles. Count your age by friends, not years. And count your life by smiles, not tears. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind understanding.
Thank you very much, Tan Sri, for that highly motivating morning plenary. We will honor Tan Sri American, and so we will not actually have any questions, as mentioned by as a precedent was set by our advisor, Prof. Nathan. Okay, so there'll be no questions. Now I'm going to actually hand back to Mr. Tile. There he is. He's coming. Okay, but we do apologize, everyone virtually. If you actually came on, just joined us, we are very, very sorry for the technical issues. Unfortunately, when we do virtual, there are always issues, potential issues with with our connectivity. We hope we have fixed it, and we'll continue to make sure that we have far more stable connection for the rest of the conferences. So those who are actually here physically with us, hopefully, so you're smirking now because you chose to come physically. It was worth it, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. So I'll pass over to Mr. Tile now.